another edition of Forsberg Four. And Chris, I'm feeling really great about the C's. We talked about them earlier today on the Celtics Talk podcast. What are the stats and storylines you have for us this week?
Are you going to do any merengue for us today? Because I got no dance moves today on the Forsberg Four. But what I do have is I feel like the core of this team has been really good in this stretch, and I feel like they're really identifying their roles. So what I did was I found four numbers, each from one of each of the core four: Tatum, Brown, Smart, and Kemba. We'll start with Jaylen Brown, 7.0, and that's the number of first quarter points he's averaging this season. And one of the things about the Celtics is they've had slow starts, but especially in that game against LA, it felt like Jaylen Brown came out and was like, I am going to set the tone. I am going to attack the basket. I'm going to make good things happen. And I think this is so important because as much as Jayson Tatum has been the closer, Jaylen Brown has been the tone setter. And I feel like in order for them to get off to better starts, he's got to be aggressive out of the gates. When he's attacking the basket, when he's getting fouls, this team is different. If you look at the numbers, he's just so much of their first quarter offense. So the Celtics need Jaylen Brown to bottle that up and be aggressive out of the gates.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown definitely making his presence felt on the court in that first quarter. What's coming in at number 3?
All right, so next up, I got Kemba Walker, who I think might just be the most important player in this whole streak because he's modified his game to accentuate the Jays. And this is something we wondered, coming in. Could Kemba be the perfect fit alongside the Jays? Because he always loved to run those pick and rolls. He was more of a scorer. His assist rate right now, 29.5. That's off the charts. That's up over 7% from his first 29 games this season. His usage rate is going the other way, going from 26.1 down to 20.3. And what that tells me is that Kemba is trying to get his teammates involved, trying to get them good looks, and only taking shots when they're good for him. Now, his three-point shot has been a little bit off. That's hurt his efficiency numbers otherwise, but going to the rim, he's finishing at a career rate, 77% at the rim. Kemba has been really, really good. And if they can bottle this up and get him to be a playmaker, this team ceiling just goes all that much higher.
And we've been asking them to move that ball around, and they're doing it on the court, so you can't complain about that. What's coming in at number 2?
All right, for Jayson Tatum, Eastern Conference Player of the Week, my number right now is 88. And that's the number of clutch points he has this season. It's the 4th highest total in the Eastern Conference and the 9th highest total in the NBA overall. Now, partly skewed because the Celtics have played so many clutch games this season. But I think if you look at this week, and the games that they've had, him taking over in the second half there against the Timberwolves, then hitting that dagger in Portland to win that game. These are the moments that we've been calling on Jayson Tatum, especially our buddy Kendrick Perkins, to step up and be an elite level player. And it feels like he's embracing that moment. He's accounted for something like a third of Boston's total clutch points this season. As others have struggled, Jayson Tatum has really carried this team in those final 5 minutes of 5-point games. And that's when the superstars come out. That's why I'm bullish on where he's headed, especially after what we saw this week.
Yeah, the dagger in Portland with Jayson Tatum, that did it for me. What's coming in at number 1?
All right, number 1, Marcus Smart, because, man, especially in that Portland game, the defensive energy was off the charts, and my number for him is 41.9. That's his defensive field goal percentage against all the players he's guarded during this little 7-1 streak for the Celtics. That is essentially 4.1% below the expected field goal percentage of those players. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but think about the players he's guarded in the stretch. He took on Damian Lillard in Portland. Whenever Lillard wasn't out there, he was on McCollum. In Denver, he was guarding Michael Porter Jr. Karl Anthony Towns. He took multiple possessions against Cat in that game. He had Julius Randle when they were playing the Knicks and Derrick Rose. Marcus Smart is on this redemption tour, trying to remind everyone, hey, won a couple of all first team defense in recent seasons, wants to make sure no one forgot how impactful he can be. He had that play where he hit the slip and slide, still got back and saved the ball. Like, he is unbelievable. And we talk about someone who, every good championship team has a player like Marcus Smart, and they need him to do that, bottle that up in terms of defense and energy, and the shots will come when they need them.